Hi everyone, today we're wrapping chamois and I'm going to teach you two ways of how to wrap a chamois. There are two different ways to do it and kind of one secret tip at the end. So the first way to wrap a chamois is from bottom to top. This is my preferred way, but probably the least popular way. You start off with your chamois just below the grip line and usually pointing towards you with your stick positioned like this. You can do this kind of standing up on the side of a pitch, sitting down. Sitting down is probably a lot easier. You make the first wrap around to join perfectly back up. This bit is the hardest bit of the whole thing. You have to pull quite tight and wrap around. Then immediately as you overlap your initial starting point, you want to go off at an angle. Like so. You keep going at this angle and you hold it down as hard as you can with your thumb and pull very, very firmly with your right hand. And now you want to start overlapping, but only by like 3 millimeters. Something like 3 millimeters on a chamois is a good overlap. And you keep going, twisting with your left hand, putting a lot of pressure with your right hand, and you can't really pull chamois enough. You just need them extremely securely on, so they need to be pulled really, really tight. And you keep going all the way, constantly overlapping by about 3 millimeters until you get to the end. Once you get to the end, you'd make a cut, a sideways slash cut, and so that you had a nice meet up of the triangle that you've now cut into the end of the chamois, so that it all looked nice and tidy. And then you would get yourself some hockey tape and you'd wrap a lot of tape around both ends. Why this is potentially the least popular way is because all of the little ridges and edges of the chamois point downwards, just like a normal grip, which usually protects the chamois and makes the edges less likely to fray than the other way where the edges are on the top side. But people don't like this as much because they don't feel the ridges quite as easily as they move their hand down the stick. So the much more popular way is chamois wrapping way number 2. I'm going to do way number 2 right now. So this way you begin from the end cap of the stick and you move towards the middle. I'm going to properly grip up this stick like this. So what you do with this one is it's probably advisable to cut a little triangle out of your chamois straight away. So there you go. Now you've got a nice looking kind of end and you avoid a little bit of overlap. You know, leave a centimetre, 8 mil, something like that from the top of the stick, because you want something for your tape to stick to. You press the end of your chamois into there and you hold it taut, and then you wrap just again till you're getting just past that point there, so you're making a nice straight line around the top of the stick. Then immediately as you've made that straight line across the stick, you want to slide off at an angle like that. And you want to bring the angle tight. Your hands should ache after this. You want to do it with a lot of force. So you're pulling with your right hand, you're twisting with your left hand, and you're trying to get to the point where you overlap again by about 3 millimeters. And then you keep going. This way is a little bit more difficult to realize if you're overlapping 3 millimeters because you're underneath yourself. So might be a good idea to check. Some people wrap chamois like this so that they can easily see how much they're overlapping. But if you get good at it, putting a lot of pressure on by pushing it into your own knees is a bit easier. Let's do this thing. So then you're left with something like this. This is the important bit. You've got to pull this quite tight. But first, you don't have to do this, but I like to make mine look a little bit neater. I'm going to copy the same kind of triangle that I cut out of the top in the bottom. just to make things look a bit neater. So I cut a little triangle like that. Try my best to pull tight and overlap in a nice, pleasant looking way. So I'm left with something like that, and a clean, complete meeting line at the bottom. This one I'm going to do properly. So I'm going to tape it up. You tape with the direction that you were pulling, so that you don't pull your chamois work off as you apply the tape. So you do a bit of that. Try and get the tape, obviously, on the chamois as well as on the stick. Most of this medical style tape is very sticky, so you don't need too much of it. There you go. That's the bottom secured in place. Top. The top kind of stays as it is, even though it might seem okay. You're definitely going to rub it off with your hands, so you need to tape the top. And tape tight. You want to pull the tape tight, just as tight as you've pulled the chamois tight. A couple of rounds. With chamois and tape, you don't have to have a pair of scissors. You can tear this tape and you can tear chamois, but it's a lot easier with scissors and a lot nicer. And there you go. This is way 2, where you can run your hand down the stick and feel the edges. This wears the chamois out slightly quicker, but most pro players tape their chamois like this. And my third kind of tip that some people do, that is worth experimenting to see if it's your kind of thing, is to get some of the water from your water bottle and squeeze it over the chamois before you wrap the chamois around your stick. In some chamois, this makes it a tiny bit more pliable, a little bit more stretchy, and grip to itself easier, which some people find easier to wrap tighter around their handle. Just be careful not to spray too much water over the ends of your chamois, because you'll be wrapping tape around those parts and you want the tape to stick really well. That's how you wrap a chamois. Let me know how you get on in the comments below, and thanks for watching this tutorial. Bye bye everyone.